and welcome to this week's edition of EDFL Web TV. My name's Claire Varley and I'm joined by Adem Saricaoglu tonight. We're at Windy Hill where it is quite cold and quite windy, and also the home of EDFL Finals football. Finals are just around the corner, so with that in mind, let's look at Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division and wonder whether or not the Final Four is locked in, Adem.
Good question to start off the show this week, Claire. I think it is, much like last year. Keilor was that fourth team that made the finals. Unfortunately, I knocked out in that first week last year. This year might be a different story. Defensively, they've been really sharp this year under Mickey McGuan. And they've gone under the radar a little bit, Claire, because they're only one win behind Greenvale and Pascoe Vale this weekend. I think, though, they will be playing finals footy for sure if Avondale Heights gets up over Strathmore this weekend just without a ladder. And the permutations of a loss there for Strathmore would pan out. Yes or no, though? Yes. We have our top four in Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division, and that's still a month out from finals.
Will be an interesting weekend coming up. Looking back, last week in EDFL Web TV, we were talking about that midweek game between Avondale Heights and Northern Saints. You were there at Canning Reserve. Do you think that there's more nighttime footy coming up for the EDFL?
It was a good night, Claire, last Wednesday down at Canning Reserve, and pretty good game of footy as well. Good to see the Northern Saints were more than competitive, at least for three quarters. They may have just fallen away in the final term, but a really good game of footy. Good crowd got down there as well, considering it was a Wednesday night. Going forward, we know that this was a one-off occasion, so don't expect to be seeing any Wednesday night fixtures in the record next year. But, you know, we've seen a few Saturday evening twilight games, I think, down at Keilor Park and Tulla in particular earlier in the year, perhaps when the weather wasn't quite as bad as it is above us right now, Claire. So, yeah, I like night footy. I want to see more of it. It's just a matter of picking the perfect time of year and date for it.
I'd certainly like to see that. I really love the atmosphere of nighttime footy. Looking at Essendon for Division 1, what was the biggest story to come out of the weekend? Was it Tulla's win or Duda's loss?
Surprise result of the round perhaps in Essendon 4 Division 1, Claire, up at Tulla. Well done to Tulla Marine as well, because we know that they needed perhaps a bit of a big scalp to just really push their claim to perhaps be a premiership contender. Well done to Scotty McAllister, 5 goals and best on ground for him as well. The biggest story though is definitely Tulla for mine, because look, Dudas still have one bye to come, which means they get the automatic 4 points, and that will pretty much put them on top of the ladder. Probably nothing to gain for them now until the end of the year. So this was a massive win for Tulla Marine, and a big final 3 weeks coming up, because we know, or I believe anyway, that on their day they can be a contender, but they've probably still got a little bit of work to do between now and when finals start, if they can get in. I'm pretty sure they will though.
Staying in Division 1, did Glenroy ensure their own safety with that win over Hillside?
I think they did. Again, it all comes down to these buys where you do get the free 4 points in the bank, and Glenroy still has one to come. So because of that, I'm pretty sure they're safe now. And there's a pretty big game, which we might talk about later on in the show, Claire, that might just decide relegation this weekend. So well done to Glenroy, you're up for another year.
Jumping down into Strathmore Community Bank Division 2, we saw Jacana at the weekend at the broadcast game. After what you saw, do you think that they can win the flag?
I saw a pretty good young plucky side, Claire. I don't know about you. I know there's a few injuries come out of that game on both sides, and that might have just had an impact a little bit, but Jacana really took it up to Hadfield. You know, I felt like Hadfield controlled a lot of the game, but then suddenly Jacana in the final term, they managed to level the scores. Matt Siciliano kicked a nice goal from the pocket, but then I think it was Alex Kalidas who ended up kicking the winner for Hadfield not long after that. So a really exciting finish down there this weekend. The problem with Jacana being considered a premiership fancy, I know they've beaten Roxy twice this year and they've pushed Hadfield on this most recent occasion. The problem though is they're going to have to beat both to win the premiership. On their day, they can certainly beat both these sides, but they're going to have to do it twice back to back in the busiest time of year, a time of year that Jacana hasn't really featured in for quite a long time. That's going to be the problem. So they can, don't think they will though.
And our final review question, where to now for Burnside Heights?
We got the scores, Claire, on EDFL Match of the Day around the grounds. Dave McWilliam does a magnificent job with the around the ground scores, and we got the final score in from Burnside Heights and Moonee Valley, and saw that I think it was 42-28. Now that's 70 scoring shots. Is that right? 70?
Yes,
I've got that right.
Yep.
That's a massive problem for Burnside Heights. Again, we know that reserve's going to take the field a couple of weeks ago, so depth is probably a bit of an issue right now down there. But look, they're still flying off the field. You know, that's the most important thing to take out of this right now. This is a club that's absolutely flying at junior level. They're doing some great things off the field at the moment. One of the model clubs of the entire EDFL. So with that said, I think the senior boys just need to stand up a little bit now, pull their socks up and try and get some bit more respect on the scoreboard for the end of the year, because this is a club moving forward. The seniors perhaps need to start following the lead of the juniors and everyone else down at Burnside Heights. The other problem is as well, they have not kicked a score above 100 points all year.
And now we have a huge weekend of football coming up ahead of us in all three divisions, actually.
Yep.
But let's look in Premier first. What is the bigger game, do you think? We have Greenvale versus Pascoe Vale and Avondale Heights versus Strathmore.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it, Claire? For mine, Greenvale and Pascoe Vale, unless second spot means absolutely everything to one of those sides, I don't think the Section Road game we're going to see a whole lot, because, well, basically they could well meet in finals. One of them is probably going to be playing Aberfeldy on grand final day. And, well, why give up all your intel? I'm a real big believer in that. Perhaps we won't see the best of these two sides on the weekend, as I said, unless we've got two sides that desperately want to get second spot on the ladder. Therefore, that game where the loser gets knocked out of finals for good, Strathmore and Avondale Heights, is the big game in Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division this weekend. And we're coming off that first game where Avondale Heights were able to sort of get their season going a little bit and beat the reigning premier on that occasion.
In Essendon Ford Division 1, the loser out of East Keeler on Taylors Lake will be the favourite to go down in a couple of weeks' time. What would that mean for each of those two clubs?
Yeah, well, East Keeler's obviously just come back up, so they're pretty familiar with the Division 2 setup. Taylors Lakes is the surprise, though, Claire. If they do go down this weekend, it's probably going to be done for the year, and they will be in Division 2 next year, which is a massive surprise. A lot of them would have had them certainly up near the top of the ladder at the start of the year. But Claire, this is our EDFL match of the day. This is absolutely massive, and it's going to be a special one as well, because an absolute champion of the Taylors Lakes Football Club and the EDFL as well, Mark D'Souza, is playing his final game of football. This is obviously news that has just come out of Taylors Lakes this week. There's been a few injuries, and the fact that Taylors Lakes do not play another home game for the rest of the year means that this will be the farewell of an absolute champion of Essendon Ford Division 1 and the EDFL in general. So tune in, 98.9 Northwest FM team app as well. Will you be there, Claire?
I will definitely be there, and
I'll
I'm excited.
be there. I'll be there. Sprouts will be there.
Yeah.
Don't know about a certain other member of the commentary team we haven't seen for a while, Claire. He's just disappeared completely.
I feel like there's a big space between us that he could have filled.
Exactly. But yeah, so tune in, 98.9 Northwest FM team app. It's going to be East Keilor versus Taylors Lakes at Overland Reserve, a place we haven't done a broadcast in quite a while. So that is an absolutely massive game to keep an eye out for.
I'm really excited looking ahead to the weekend. And then we have Coburg Districts. Do you believe that they can reverse their fortunes against Roxy after two pretty disappointing games earlier in the season? Yeah,
this is probably the only game worth a real decent look at this weekend in Division 2. Broadcast game last time out. In a nutshell, no. Coburg Districts has proven that they can't figure out Roxburgh Park. Roxburgh Park have beaten them pretty easily on both occasions, and Coburg Districts has not been able to put a decent score on the board on the first two occasions. Roxy wins this game, and I reckon they win it relatively easily this weekend up at Roxy again.
Well, that's it for this edition of EDFL Web TV, thanks to the Pascoe Vale Hotel. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have an excellent weekend ahead of